why is the story of the Hope such an enduring one?
Well, first of all, it's probably the first lost treasure story to come out of Australia, certainly the first one in Tasmania, and the proximity of the Hope and the treasure to Hobart makes it very tangible. It's different to if you've got a treasure story where the buried treasure is on some island out in the middle of the Pacific where no one knows where it is. But here you've got a significant treasure that's within, very short distance of the city.
So what happened the night that the ship ran aground?
Okay, so the pilot, what happened was he misjudged the entrance of the Derwent and instead ran the Hope onto a sandbank in front of what's called Hope Beach now, and then the big swell that was rolling in just swamped the Hope basically and tipped it on its side, and all mayhem broke loose. So the legend goes that it was the quarterly pay for the Hobart garrison, which came to about £3,200 sterling in coins.
And I think we were saying that works out to be about $3 million in today's terms.
Yeah, around $3 to $4 million. Now my theory is that James Kelly, who actually owned Kelly's Point that's now called Dens Point, that he actually found the treasure, or may have even been involved in actually taking the original treasure off the ship, because his whale boats were the first ones there. They got there sort of early in the morning, and in all the chaos, the theory is, well, the story goes that in the chaos of the shipwreck, that the guards who were guarding the treasure actually somehow got it off the ship. So my theory is that they got it into James Kelly's whale boats, and then James Kelly took the treasure back to Kelly's Point, buried it, sat on it for a while, and then after things had quietened down, used it.
So James Kelly's quite an identity in Tassie history. Can you tell me a little bit about who he was? Okay,
well, James Kelly is one of that new generation of men who was born in Australia. His mother was a convict, and he was born in Parramatta, and he grew up on the sea, grew up on boats, became a master mariner, and he moved to Tasmania and became the harbour pilot. And he had a property on the northern tip of Bruny Island, and from there he would go out to ships and bring them into Hobart Harbour. So, and he was also the first person to totally circumnavigate Tasmania. A lot of people think it was Flinders and Bass, but in actual fact they didn't actually circumnavigate Tasmania. So Kelly was the first person in a whaleboat to go all the way around Tasmania. So yeah, he was a real identity, but he was an interesting character. He had a farm, he was the harbour master, but he wasn't rich by any stretch of the imagination. He was on a good wage. Then suddenly, not long after the wreck of the Hope, he had a whaling fleet and he started buying property in Hobart. He started to send his kids over to England to go to expensive private schools. Suddenly he was quite a rich man. So I think there's more than 50% chance that someone's already found it, and there's a very strong chance that it was James Kelly.
Because there have been quite a few attempts to recover both the ship and the treasure, haven't there?
Yeah, particularly in the end of the 19th century, the Dens family, who actually end up buying Kelly's farm after he died, and they actually met an Irishman who supposedly had a map showing where the treasure was buried. And so for a long time the Dens family and the residents of northern Bruny Island searched for the treasure right up until the last big sort of expedition hunting for the treasure was in 1946, where a syndicate was formed by someone who supposedly had found the Irishman's map, and they basically dug up all of Nebraska Beach. They hired people and they worked for weeks, moved tons and tons of sand, didn't find anything.
It's definitely the stuff of legends, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.